Taking a live look at the radar image this Saturday morning. We do have some additional snow flurries expected later on today that will really affect some travel northwest of Cincinnati. So good morning, I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. We're going to get right into that forecast here in just a second. Keep in mind that we are seeing a couple of snow flurries northwest of Cincinnati right now. That's going to be up towards parts of southeastern Indiana, up towards Connorsville, in which we're tracking some snow right now. That's reducing visibility up that direction, and that's where we have these winter weather advisories. Again, these are in effect until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, so a pretty wide time frame to see some wintry weather today into tomorrow as well. Again, the heaviest snow that we're seeing right now moving through parts of the northwestern tri-state, Fayette, Union, and Franklin counties. But notice, let me zoom out for you guys and show you where this heaviest snow is right now. South central Illinois starting to cross into Indiana right now, some pretty heavy snow showers, and we can expect these here in Cincinnati later on today. However, because temperatures here locally are able to warm up, we're going to start to see some rain coming into the mix too. So snow to rain, temps drop this evening, so rain goes back to snow. It's a very sensitive forecast, so if you have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments section below. We'll get right to them. But a reminder, if you're traveling today, if you haven't already hit the road, the sooner you do it here in Cincinnati, the better. However, your opportunity to travel without a hitch north and west of Cincinnati, where I just showed you all that snow, and the opportunity for good travel is coming to an end pretty quickly. And that's where we have winter storm warnings. Here locally, just winter weather advisories against the ones that you see here. It's for Fayette, Union, Franklin, Warren, and Butler counties until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And that's because we, of course, have some snow in the forecast for today. Right now here in Cincinnati, it's mainly pretty just cold. It looks quite gloomy as well. We did get a pretty sunrise before the clouds took over. It's 29 here in Cincinnati. It feels like 20 degrees once you factor in those winds. We're just now climbing out of the 20s. And so later on this afternoon, as we climb into the middle 30s, we do open up the opportunity for some rain to come into the mix. But I think most of us are going to see mainly snow with this, especially north of Cincinnati, where there's cooler temperatures are kind of more a lock. But from now through about 6 o'clock this afternoon, I know a wide time frame here, you could expect pretty light precipitation, whether that's snow, which I'm seeing right now, and maybe a little bit of light rain coming into the mix this afternoon. But travel here locally will be pretty good. But later on, after 6, from about 6 to midnight, that's when things start to get a little bit more tricky in regards to travel here in the tri-state. Again, a little in the way of accumulations. They're pretty minor, especially compared to parts of Chicago, Indianapolis, northern Indiana in general, seeing several inches of snow. We'll get to my snow map here in just a second. But from 6 to midnight, expect those snow showers to really start to pick up, and this is when travel is going to be the most difficult. Notice, this says especially north of the Ohio River, because remember, rain is possible at the same time. And because it's just a little warmer south, that's where we see a little bit more likelihood for some rain. And then eventually warmer air lifts completely into the tri-state, and from about midnight to 8 o'clock, those snow showers will have transitioned into rain and then come to an end. But Sunday is going to be pretty breezy and pretty chilly as well. So let's talk about the timeline real quick. Let's see if we have any questions coming on in. And we do have a lot of questions coming on in, and hopefully the timing and the timeline will help answer some of these questions real quick. So let me address the timeline real quick, and then we'll get to some questions. So again, right now we're mainly just seeing some light snow north and west of the tri-state. So Connorsville, Batesville, even parts of Butler County seeing some snow right now. You can expect to see these light snowflakes for the next couple of hours. And then as we climb into the middle 30s later on this afternoon, could see some rain coming into the mix. But again, that divide between rain and snow is very, very thin. Temperature is everything here. And so While this is going to be pretty light, we could see rain and you could see snow. It's mainly going to be snow, though, for those north of Cincinnati. And then as we work into 6 o'clock, reminder, 6 is when we start to see those heavier showers push into the tri-state. So that's what you see here. And as those temperatures start to drop from the middle 30s back into the low 30s, that's when the rain, watch this, will transition into snow. More than likely going to be seeing some pretty heavy snow here in Cincinnati from about 8 to 9 o'clock tonight. So again, if you're traveling today, the earlier you do it in the day, the better. And then as we head into your evening, that's when things will start to get a little bit more hazardous. Again, the accumulations, how much snow to expect is coming up in just a second. Here's 10 o'clock. Into 11, still seeing a good amount of snow, but notice the rain is coming back. And that's because temperatures are actually warming up a little bit to the point where by about midnight, we're seeing mainly light rain. At the same time, as snow transitions into rain, these showers will start to lighten up altogether to the point that I'm tracking very little in the way of precipitation for Sunday morning, whether that be little bit of rain, maybe a little bit of snow on the backside of that cold front. Sunday is going to be mostly dry, just going to be pretty cold here. And last but not least, that snowfall map. And yeah, I mean, here in Cincinnati, it's looking likely that we see anywhere from about a dusting to half of an inch. I know it's pretty minor, but it's a big travel day. That's why it's a first alert weather day. And then those north and west of Cincinnati, notice the jump into heavier snowfall totals. Still between 1 and 2 inches for most of us, maybe some of us getting closer to 3 inches, but that's farther north towards Connorsville and even farther north, say north of Dayton as well. But generally speaking, the accumulation here, the snow that we'll see collect on the ground, it's going to be pretty minor. It's just relative to what we've seen so far this year. This might catch you a little bit more off guard, certainly if you're hitting the road later on this afternoon. Okay, yeah, again, we have plenty of questions coming on in, so we're going to go ahead and address some of them. Christine's tuning in. I'm in Hamilton, and my sister has to travel home to Toledo. What would be a good time to leave so she gets home before all the snow starts? The sooner, the better. In Toledo, it's going to be much worse that direction. And so I really can't stress enough anyone who's traveling north today, the sooner you can leave, the better, because like us here in Cincinnati, the afternoon and the evening for northern Ohio is also around the same time for the heaviest snow. So Christine, for your sister to get home before all the heavy snow starts, I'd say before the afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Jen's tuning in. Hello, what about southern Campbell County? I know tonight might not see much, but what about later in the week? That's a great question. We're going to get to Tuesday here in just a second. Southern Campbell County today, you guys, like you see here on your snow map, you guys can expect anywhere from about a dusting, maybe half of an inch, but northern Kentucky in general, not really eyeing too much in the way of snow like you mentioned. But again, still forecasting the possibility of some snow coming into the mix. You guys are more likely to see the rain a lot quicker, and therefore the snow might just melt altogether. Thank you for tuning in, Jen. We'll get to Tuesday here in a second, but long story short, Tuesday morning, the commute is looking quite wintry as well, seeing some snow in that forecast. And I'll show you what it looks like coming up in just a few minutes. Bonnie is tuning in. Thanks for the information, Erin. You're so welcome, Bonnie. Thank you for tuning in. Robbie's tuning in. Hi, how are you? I'm doing well. Thank you, Robbie, for tuning in. Ruth Ann is asking, I'm assuming, how the snow is going to affect Alexandria, Kentucky. So that's on the northern side of Campbell County. And like others in Campbell County, you guys aren't really eyeing too much in the way of snow. However, untreated roads will collect a little bit of snow, anywhere from about a dusting to half of an inch is possible for Campbell County. And of course, it's going to be windy with these snow flurries and snow showers in general, so reduced visibility will be a hazard in and of itself wherever we do see the snow. Nikki's tuning in. What about Hillsboro? Hillsboro is a great question too, because while you are pretty far north, you're also far east. It kind of just balances each other out, because the farther east you are of Cincinnati, the less likely you're seeing heavy snow. So like Campbell County, like most of Clermont County, northern Brown counties, those in Hillsboro and Highland County alike can expect a dusting, maybe half of an inch. Again, the highest rainfall, or excuse me, the highest snowfall totals that I'm seeing here locally are going to be north and northwest of Cincinnati, where we have these winter weather advisories, Fayette, Union, Franklin, Butler, and Warren counties until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thank you for tuning in, Nikki. I appreciate it. All right, no other questions coming on in right now. So let's go ahead and talk about what's next, because I mean, while we're talking about the opportunity for snow today, just a reminder, we've seen worse snow in Cincinnati, and we're more than likely going to see worse snow too. It's just a big travel day here locally. If you can, and if you want to hit the road on Sunday, that's probably the better day of the two, not just here locally, but across the region, because things will have settled down a little bit in terms of the snowfall. However, Sunday, I mean, look at that. It's going to be colder. Temperatures drop overnight into early Sunday morning into the middle 30s by the afternoon. It's going to be windy too. So travel's not perfect, but we're starting to get away from the active snowfall, give crews out on the roads some opportunity to clean up any snow that is able to collect out there on the roads. I mean, I've drove into work really early this morning, and the exit ramps here in Cincinnati, I noticed they're already treated, which is fantastic news. And I know those in Indiana have also noticed that as well. But tomorrow it's going to be breezy and it's going to be quite cold too. So being outside, unpleasant, but travel just is going to be a bit better. Still windy though, so keep that in mind for tomorrow. Give you an idea of what to expect for those winds. I mean, tomorrow's going to be the breezier day of the two, but today you'll notice those winds kicking up to about 25 miles per hour. And then you might wake up to this early Sunday morning. You might just wake up to your windows kind of shaking a little bit. And that's because those winds are going to be gusting anywhere from about 25, maybe 35 miles per hour. And then we'll hang on to those 25 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts towards the afternoon on Sunday. And so that is going to be the main thing for Sunday, the windy conditions, and therefore how cold it's also going to be with those windy conditions. But generally speaking, light rain possible in the morning on the tail end of those snow showers. And then I'd say Tuesday's your next best bet for some wintry weather. It's a first alert weather day because look at this, the impact that it's going to have to your morning commute. It's looking pretty big right now. And so while Monday's looking good, by about midnight, we're going to start to see some showers come into the area. It's going to be cold enough for snow, and it will be cold enough for the snow to stick to untreated roads and to, of course, the grasses, your car, things like that. I mean, still eyeing the morning hours for the heaviest snow. So this is your first alert update on what to expect for Tuesday. We're talking snow delays, can't rule that out, school delays because of it, and also just general impact to your commute. A little snow can go a long way, I know, especially in the more rural communities, perhaps where the roads might be a little less treated. But here's the thing, with Tuesday's forecast, notice that pink line there? We like to call it the rain-snow line sometimes, in which it divides the snow from the rain. Makes sense, right? But along that line, we could very well see some icy accumulations, and that's because we cannot rule out sleet, maybe some freezing rain. It's looking more likely we see snow. However, the opportunity is there. And so I want to give you the first alert that ice cannot be ruled out for Tuesday's forecast. Again, mainly snow, but it's still going to impact you guys, especially in the morning hours. We'll see if we have any questions coming on in right now. We do have plenty of questions, so I'm assuming these are mainly going to be about today's snow, which is fantastic, which let's get to them. Roxy's tuning in. What's Ripley County in Indiana going to get? Roxy, that's a great question. Ripley County, along with Dearborn County, you guys are along the line between maybe getting half of an inch, but also maybe getting 2 inches of snow. It depends on where you are in either of those counties, in Ripley and Dearborn counties. The northern side of the counties can expect higher snowfall totals. I'd say 1 to 2 inches possible in northern Ripley County near Batesville. And then lesser rainfall totals, about dusting maybe half of an inch for those south in Ripley County and Dearborn County. I'd say it's more likely you're on the lesser side of the spectrum altogether, though, if you're in Switzerland, Ohio counties. But again, Ripley and Dearborn, you're kind of on the cusp of what could be some heavy snow north of you guys, and also some rain just south of you. So you'll want to have that Fox 19 First Alert Weather app letting you guys know exactly what to expect. But Roxy, Ripley County in Indiana, you can expect snow. I would expect snow, and I would expect around an inch, give or take. Just a reminder that the range of possibilities for you is a little bit wider than compared to most of us in the tri-state. Thank you for tuning in. And Mark's tuning in, asking about Middletown. Same question here. So Middletown is right on the line of more or less snow. Yes. Yes. Northern Warren County is kind of like Ripley and Dearborn counties, in which you guys are on the cusp of getting maybe an inch or two versus half of an inch. Either way, expect snow. But if you're on the western side of Middletown, it's going to be a different story than on the eastern side of Middletown. I'd say since you're north of Cincinnati in general, I'd say around that inch, maybe an inch and a half mark with those winter weather advisories. Of course, you always want to err on the side of caution with these things. And of course, we're already seeing some snow getting close to you right now. So the sooner the snow starts, the heavier snow you will see once everything is said and done. Thanks for tuning in, Mark. I appreciate it. Anna's asking about Dayton, Ohio. So generally, the farther north you go of Cincinnati, the higher rain or snowfall totals you're going to see. I've started saying snow instead of rain. 'Tis the season. So Dayton is no different. I would expect at least an inch or two up that direction. They're not technically under winter storm warnings up in Dayton, but the farther north you go from Dayton, that's when you start to get into winter storm warning territory. So that's several inches of snow. But generally, Dayton, I'd say your travel is going to be a little bit worse than ours here in Cincinnati, but not by much. And that's just because snowfall totals will be a little higher up that direction. But thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate it. And Suzanne is asking, is the snow Tuesday morning going to be accumulating snow? Yes, cold temperatures, they're here to stay, which means any snow that we do see tonight and on Tuesday morning will be able to accumulate. The thing about Tuesday compared to today is that I'm seeing a longer time of snowfall, whereas today we're seeing snow to rain. Tuesday, I'm seeing mainly snow. So that's looking a little bit more impactful, especially for the morning hours. Robbie's tuning in. How's it looking for Kings Island tonight? That's a good question. Winterfest is going on, of course. And if you want a very wintry look and feel, tonight is the perfect night to do it. I would just keep in mind that southern Warren County, you are also on kind of this cusp of like 0 to an inch of snow. And so untreated roads, untreated parking lots, big one there in Kings Island, right? We'll see some slippery spots. Plus, keep in mind, any active snow showers, plus these breezy, windy conditions, it will reduce visibility. So even if you're not seeing a lot of snow on the ground, any active snowfall will make driving pretty difficult, especially with the sun being down later on this evening when most of that heavy snow is coming into play. But yeah, southern Warren County, where we're starting to see Kings Island, where we are seeing Kings Island, dusting to half of an inch. I would say you're closer to that inch, though. Just keep that in mind. Okay, no other questions coming on in, and we already talked about Tuesday. Let's go ahead and talk about what each of these systems do to temperatures throughout the week, because while we do have today and Tuesday as first alert weather days, both days are cold, and the days in between are also quite cold too. Notice the normal line is well above the graphs that you see here. So middle 30s, your forecast high today here in Cincinnati is 38. And so we can expect temperatures to just barely get a little cooler than that for tomorrow. Again, temperatures are going to be falling throughout the day as that cold front pushes on through. And then Tuesday, of course, another chance for some showers. Snow showers. Not seeing much in the way of rain, though dependent on these temperatures, we could see some ice. So watching out for Tuesday. That's why it's a first alert weather day. And then by the late week, look at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We slowly lift back into the 40s before another system comes on through and brings us right back into the middle 30s. You're going to see here in just a second in that 7 to 10 day forecast that we also have some opportunities for snow into next weekend. Of course, we got to get through tonight. We got to get through Tuesday. It's just something you want to keep on your radar if you have any plans for that first weekend of December. Can you believe December's almost here? So here's your 10-day forecast. Today, Tuesday, both opportunities for snow, both first alert weather days. Bring your attention to tomorrow. Notice the morning low 36, the afternoon high 34. You're like, what's going on here? It's because temperatures are dropping throughout the day. Middle 30s in the morning, just a little cooler towards the afternoon. I mean, you'll hardly notice it, but the winds will be the biggest impact to any and all of your plans that afternoon especially. Monday, we're kicking off the work week, the first school week back from the holiday weekend. Cold. Temperature is going to be dropping into the low 20s that morning. We're still holding on to quite a bit of a breeze too, so wind chills dropping into the teens that morning. It's going to be a cold start to the work week. Tuesday morning's the day to watch though for those school delays. I know. As soon as I say it, hopefully the chance for snow will drop, but the impact is definitely there, something you'll want to keep on your radar. Snow will make the transition to rain as temperatures slowly climb near the middle 30s. Here in Cincinnati, it's looking like mostly snow though, with a high of 33. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we start to calm down a little bit. The temperatures are still quite cold, only reaching 40 by Friday. I know, winter's here, guys. A taste of it. Okay, other questions coming on in. JD is tuning in. How are you doing today? What is the weather for Canton tomorrow morning? I'm doing well, thanks JD. And the weather for Canton tomorrow morning, also seeing quite some windy conditions for tomorrow morning, so keep in mind, especially where the center of the storm is, north of us, it'll be extra breezy up that direction near Canton. So thanks for tuning on in. And no other questions. Okay, so hopefully that means that people have a good idea of what to expect later on today. I'm going to show you one more time for anyone just now tuning in, a rough timeline of what to expect and when to expect it. For the snow today, we're already seeing some snow flurries north and west of Cincinnati, and we can expect these light off and on snow flurries, maybe some rain showers coming into the mix as temperatures warm up. We can expect these through about 6 o'clock tonight, and then by 6, that's when those heavier showers are going to start to come on through. The snow showers are mainly going to be north of the Ohio River. Still possible for northern Kentucky, though, of course. Travel is going to be pretty difficult during this time here locally from 6 to midnight. So if you're heading out to Winterfest, maybe do so before 6. Honestly, because you're in Warren County, you can probably get there closer to about 7 and still be okay. But reminder that throughout the evening, that's when we expect those snow showers to be at their peak intensity, at least for us here in Cincinnati. And then from midnight to 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, the snow and rain showers are going to start to lighten up altogether. Eventually, the snow turns entirely to rain as temperatures warm up briefly into Sunday morning. So travel is going to start to improve pretty slowly, though, on Sunday. All right, no other questions coming on in this Saturday morning. I don't work this shift very often, so I had to think about it a little bit. So I appreciate you all tuning in, wanting to stay weather aware as we move into the rest of your first alert weather day. Reminder that here in Cincinnati, while accumulations and the direct impact from any snow, it's pretty minor. If you're traveling north today, even by a little bit, talking just up to Indianapolis, things will get a lot worse in terms of travel, and that's where they're forecasting inches upon inches of snow. Whereas here locally, upwards of 2 inches possible northwest of Cincinnati. All right, we have one question, one more. Shannon's tuning in. Will Loveland, Goshen miss the snow? Please say yes. I love that area. It was just there, actually. So Goshen, giving you an idea one more time of what to expect in northern Clermont County, where we're asking about Loveland and the Goshen areas in northern Clermont County. I would expect snow today. I'm sorry. You're not going to see the heaviest snow, Shannon. That's the good news. I'd say around that 1/2 inch mark, and then any rain that we do get overnight into Sunday will help it melts. So thanks for tuning in as always, and thank you all for tuning in this Saturday morning. We'll have the latest information for you guys as it comes, but for right now, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley live in Queensgate. Have a great rest of your Saturday.